In today's video, we're going to talk about James Gunn's Superman Legacy movie, which will be DC's first real official DCEU movie that is going to be 100% created by him and not just given notes like he has done apparently for the Flash movie. And it's apparent by the ending of the movie, he gave notes for them to change certain parts of the movie. So, yo, what is freaking good YouTube? Wish you here if you are new around here. Make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, pop culture, kaiju, MonsterVerse-based content that I try to deliver on a daily basis. If you could subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on. Check us out on Instagram at WashTu to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. Check us out on Twitter, WashTuG. Right. Let's get into this video. So, there's been a lot of rumors and a lot of speculation about Superman Legacy without there really being any factual news to talk about realistically. And this is not me just saying it. James Gunn has literally said, yo, we've only really looked at one person so far. And there's trades trying to get clicks saying, yeah, these 6 people are going to be Superman. And realistically, you don't know anything. It seems that everyone who meets the criteria for the specification of Superman has auditioned for it because it is the hottest role in Hollywood. To be clear, they aren't close to making any shortlists, let alone picking their Superman. So using terms like frontrunner might be a tad strong. So Justin Kroll said that. Deadline senior film reporter. I think what he means to say, but he's being a bit too nice, is saying clickbait, straight up clickbait. So James Gunn responded over the weekend to all this, oh, Nicholas Hoult is going to be Superman. No, he's going to be Lex Luthor. No, Wolfgang is going to be Superman. He responded officially saying this. For all of you asking, I would never comment on who is or isn't auditioning for a role. That's the actor's business only and isn't something I'd publicly speak about unless they did it first. After the fact, like Zachary Levi auditioning for Star-Lord and being top choices. For now, only one person has been cast into Superman Legacy, and it isn't any of the regular players in the Superman world. So why are people talking about, oh, Lex Luthor's going to be this person, Superman's going to be this person, Lois Lane's going to be this person? But yeah, sure, he could have everyone cast already, but he doesn't want anyone to know. I don't really think that's the case. So there's so many headlines out there from so-called publications like Deadline and The Hollywood Reporter, and I'm beginning to think they're not really headlines and they're just reporting stuff that they want to talk about. Searching for Superman inside the quest to cast DC's new top superhero. So it's worth saying that over the weekend, James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy has hit 528 million. Now that is important because that means it's most likely going to hit at least 700 to 800 million dollars. Crossed 500 million globally, 300 million overseas. Why? Because movies make money outside of America. I know Americans hate to hear that, but if a movie bangs, generally it's because overseas spent money, not because Americans went to watch it, because the biggest market is every country outside of America. So this article is interesting. I think it's a fluff piece, really. So they're saying David Cornsweet, who recently played a person in the project Goth in Pale, is amongst the top contenders to play Clark Kent, aka Superman, advancing to screen test stage that will likely take place after Memorial Day or early June. Multiple sources, that means literally nothing, lad. Other 2 contenders may also be in the mix. I just think this is hearsay and this is nonsense. I personally hope it's not him. Generally what happens when it comes down to Superman is they cast a nobody. Yes, they cast a nobody for Superman. And then what they do is whoever's going to be the villain, they cast an A-lister villain and they cast a nobody as Superman. And realistically, everyone's up there. Jacob, the sought-after star who broke out recently on Europa, which is a very good show. His name surfaced. There's no point really going over all these names because literally everyone that's been rumored for the last 5 months since James Gunn's been writing this, since he confirmed that Henry Cavill is no longer going to be Superman. And sure, he can do that if he really wants. So there's hearsay between the Twitter scoopers. Nicholas Hoult is going to be Lex Luthor. No, he's going to be Superman. No, he's going to be Crypto's voice. No one really knows anything. This is why I find it fascinating when people come at people that make content on YouTube, because it's no different to someone on Twitter going, yo, Jacob Cap's going to be Superman, Nicholas is going to be Lex Luthor, and realistically, nobody knows nothing. And if the rumors are actually true, the villain for the Superman Legacy movie is actually going to be a really unknown villain, which I think it's a good way to go about it. But I also at the same time find it fascinating that everybody is fan casting who's going to be Lex Luthor because he spoke to someone for the Guardians of the Galaxy cast, and apparently Dave Bautista is going to be Lex Luthor. Guardians of the Galaxy star considered for Superman Legacy Lex Luthor. It's interesting because it doesn't actually say yo for Lex Luthor. It's just someone making an assumption again. Justin Crowe, I do think he's got some credit and some validity. I do think you're just stretching, really. One thing not mentioned while they've been taking auditions for Lex Luthor's role, source tell me Gunn has been talking to one of his Guardians for the part. Sounds like it's probably not going to happen, but yeah, certainly we're discussing during Guardians of the Galaxy 3 press tour. Alright lad, then what the hell was the point in bringing it up? Lex Luthor is iconic. Dave Bautista could slay it. I really think it is a shame that we never got to see Jesse Eisenberg's version, who didn't really become Lex Luthor till realistically after the Zack Snyder Justice League movie, when we had the whole Joe Manganiello Deathstroke setup. And I really hope that James Gunn really can use Joe Manganiello Deathstroke in some capacity in the DCU. That would be cool. Bautista has ruled himself out of being Bane, says he's basically too old, but being Lex Luthor would be a pretty interesting and a pretty solid villain to play, to be honest. So there is so many names in the mix for who's going to be Superman, who's going to be Lois, who's going to be War Stew. Realistically, they should all be unknown names and he should build them up. Henry Cavill was pretty somewhat unknown. Most of the SnyderVerse characters were unknown outside of Ben Affleck. I know what you're going to say, but most of them were unknown. Yeah, sure, Jesse Eisenberg did some stuff. Sure, Gal was in Fast and a few stuff before she played Wonder Woman. I don't know if my timeline's right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 2009 was when she appeared in Fast. So it's better when they bring up unknown actors because then they grow into their role rather than having some kind of ego trip. Also, part of movies being successful going forward is they need to actually make them for a lot less money. That's why Marvel and DC really struggle to make money on movies because they're spending up to $350 million with marketing budgets when realistically they should focus on more practical effects and have lesser known actors. So not so they can cut costs, so they don't have to have as high outgoings when the franchise is not realistically well known in that interpretation of said character. Sure, Superman, everyone attached to Superman, it's a huge franchise, but realistically James Gunn's version of it is unknown. But then at the same time, Batman Brave and the Bold, it's going to be an older Superman. Damian's already going to be there, so somewhat there. Them two characters are already somewhat going to be established. Apparently Superman Kal-El's going to know all the other Justice League members already, and according to the internet, the antagonistic role in Superman Legacy is labeled as Apex, and Gunn's been seeing black actors for the part. Could we be getting Apex Lex Luthor? Now, it's worth saying that this is a less credible trade. It's coming courtesy of The Wrap. Also, it's written by Alberto Gonzalez, who said there was no Zack Snyder Justice League, etc. So I've somewhat got to discredit what it's saying, but at the same time say, yeah, it could be true. So the villain is labeled as Apex. That doesn't really say much, and seeing as no one knows anything outside of James Gunn and Pete Safran and David Zaslav, you've kind of got to think to yourself, well, if James Gunn is saying all this stuff that nobody knows anything outside of his close personal people that were attached to working with him for DC Studios, the freaking hell doesn't Bo know? What the hell do all these other trades know? They're just throwing names out there. There's so many crazy stories that are kind of interesting. One saying, oh, looks like the Vigilante will indeed why would the Vigilante appear in Superman Legacy? The Vigilante appeared in the Arrow TV show. Yeah, Vigilante was in the Suicide Squad, sure. The Vigilante technically could appear anywhere, but appearing in a Superman movie, yes, in the comics, Superman has had a run with the Vigilante, sure, but Superman's literally had a run with literally everyone. There's so many rumors out there. The next Superman is set to be relatively unknown. Currently having a very lucky time on stage in London. This lad here is trying to make out he's going to be Andrew Richardson. Like I said, I would prefer it to be a lesser known actor because that's generally what Superman does, and then the villain's usually the A-lister. But as I've said before, it is kind of make or break for DC because David Zaslav said Superman will be the focus. So they're building a new universe around Superman. And whoever is going to be cast as Superman, I feel sorry for you because just like when Robert Pattinson got cast, you're gonna get absolutely trolled, absolutely discredited, destroyed online by DC hardcore fans and Snyder Bros before they even see your work. So when will they reveal all this information about who is going to be playing who? Most likely this coming summer at San Diego Comic-Con, because apparently they're going to start shooting it in January. Now, what I find interesting is, yes, James Gunn is the writer for this, but he's also part of the WGA, which does mean that if they need to do any rewrites for said Superman script, they can only change, I think, up to 5% of it whilst being on strike. So technically, they can't change enough of this. And people are like, yeah, but James Gunn doesn't need to hire any writers because... Well, no, James Gunn is a writer. He always has been. He's part of the Writing Association, so he's not going to break the rules because still they'd kick him out and he wants to be in because he supports them. So he's supporting this writer's strike. It doesn't affect any pre-production stuff, sure, but it does affect if there needs to be any script changes, etc. because he handed his first draft in to himself. I get it. It's funny, but I presume that meant Zaslav and Pete Safran and the team working beside him. Predominantly is his idea, and if he wants to do whatever, he'll just do it anyway. And I'm fully supporting the DCU and the new Superman going forward because that is the future of DC, and you've either got to accept it or just keep watching your Snyder movies on rerun. Yeah, I do love the SnyderVerse stuff, but I'm looking forward to other stuff. I also like the Monsterverse. I also like Marvel. I also like the Power Universe. Power Book 2 is dope. Looking forward to Tommy. Ghost. I watch so much stuff. I'm a fan of a lot of different fandoms, but I don't cover every fandom I watch, to be fair. So it is funny when people go, oh, so you've turned your back on the Snyderverse. No, I haven't, but it's dead. Literally going nowhere, so there's no point covering a dead horse anymore. So likewise, guys, let me know, who would you cast as your Superman? Who would you cast as your Lex? Who would you cast as your Lois, etc.? What road, what path do you want him to go down in the DCU with Superman, I guess you could say? So this is a Superman Legacy video. So likewise, guys, any requested videos, just drop them down below. If you want to work with me or the team, just hit us up. Business inquiries, brand deals, hit us up, warstewbusiness@gmail.com. If you want to interact with me on social media, follow us on Instagram at warstew to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. And also, if you want to interact with me on Twitter, warstewg. And I'll catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.